In business news, the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited has secured a $3 billion emergency crude repayment loan from African Export-Import Bank. In a short statement disclosing the deal, the NNPC said the commitment letter, which was signed at Afrexim Bank's headquarters in Cairo, Egypt earlier today, will enable it to support the federal government in its ongoing fiscal and monetary policy reforms aimed at stabilizing the exchange rate market. The statement reads, and the NNPC and Afrexim Bank have jointly signed a commitment letter and term sheet for an emergency $3 billion crude oil repayment loan. The bank will provide some immediate disbursement that will enable the NNPC to support federal government on its ongoing fiscal and monetary policy reforms aimed at stabilizing the exchange rate. Reacting to this development also, Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria, Lagos State Chapter, is advising the government against free floating of the Naira to forces of demand and supply. Now, the model is basically based on speculations. This call was made ahead of the 2023 Lagos Bankers Night with theme Exchange Rate Unification, Global Implications for Households and Organizations. CIBN Lagos Chairman Branch, Mr. Adeyemo Adeoye, urged the federal government under President Bola Tinubu to look inwards by prioritizing investments to boost the nation's productive sectors.
The major demand force for FX, there are people who are importing fuel. So I think if we take out people who are importing fuel from the bill for the demand that is mounting on the FX demand and supply chain, we'll probably be taking about 50 or 60% off. So the lessons learned is, should we have also taken time before we implement? Should they have been gradual? And then the palliative, should we have had some of those palliatives in place before we begin to drive some of those initiatives? Majority of our imports are from China. So just imagine if you ask about 2 or 3 Chinese banks, like this Commercial Bank, Construction Bank of China, about 2 or 3 Chinese banks to come to Nigeria, open branches in Nigeria, and take Naira for all our imports. Could you imagine that that could have serious implications on the FX unification rate? So these are some of the lessons that we have learned.
The Speaker of House of Representatives, Mr. Tajuddin Abbas, says the 10th National Assembly has resolved to address issues surrounding multiple taxation in the country. Said this will be done through a bill that would address the anomaly. Mr. Abbas said this to newsmen while we received the South Korean ambassador to Nigeria, Mr. Lee Hong-sung, during a courtesy call in Abuja. He said a committee to address the anomaly has been set up, adding that there was mutual understanding between the two countries to address it so as to help businesses thrive.
Nigeria has abundant energy sources, and Nigeria is the most powerful economic power in the African continent. So Nigeria has resources, and Korea has technology. So our economies are quite complementary to each other. And in particular, with the launch of the African Continental Free Trade Agreement, we hope that free trade will be further improved.
The Nigerian Employers Consultative Association is raising alarm about the rising rate of business relocation, closure and divestment as a result of current economic challenges in the country, while calling for more collaboration between government and private sectors. NECA's Director General, Mr. Adewale Smart Oyerinde, in a statement said that in most developing economies across the globe, private businesses accounted for over 93% of employment, including formal and informal jobs. He said the private sector continues to remain the catalyst for economic growth as a major contributor to national income and efficient flow of capital. The DG acknowledged and commended the current administration's efforts to address the concerns of private sector and the steps taken to provide some respite to businesses in specific sectors of the economy. Nigerian Customs Service says it is deploying technology-driven measures in a fight against smuggling and border security. The Acting Controller General of Customs, Mr. Adewale Adeniyi, disclosed this during a briefing on the latest seizures recorded by Federal Operations Unit Zone A. Ifunanya Eze reports.
As part of his tour of customs commands and formation in the Southwest Zone, the Acting Comptroller General of Customs, Mr. Adewale Adeniyi, and his management team also reviewed the anti-smuggling activities of the Federal Operations Unit Zone A in Lagos. During his remarks, he commended officers of the service for their efforts in combating smuggling within the borders of the country. In particular, he highlighted the resolute efforts of officers in the command for intercepting another shipment of illicit medicines. National attention was called to the dangers posed by unrestricted access to dangerous drugs.
The NCS has again demonstrated its dedication to eradicating the menace of drug trafficking. Last week, officers of the Federal Operations Unit Zone A, acting on credible intelligence, flagged down a DAF truck close to Ijebu-Ode Junction on Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. An examination of the truck revealed the concealment of 299 cartons of codeine syrup inside the truck.
Warning smugglers against repeated attempts to sabotage the economy, he reiterated customs' commitment to fight smuggling and anti-economic activities by deploying technology and intelligence-backed enforcement measures.
I've had very intense engagements with the officers, and we can already see the result of these efforts, with this kind of, the seizures I've just talked about, cut across the entire Southwest as far as Ado-Ekiti. So what it means is that whatever efforts, whatever strategies that we have put in place in the last 2 weeks is working. By the time we fully integrate technology into this, I can assure you that the results will even be more impressive than what we are having now.
He stated that they would continue to incur losses as evidenced by the number of seizures in the first 2 weeks of August. More than 4,000 bags of 50 kg foreign parboiled rice were seized, along with 5,600 liters of premium motor spirits, bales of second-hand clothing, tires, vehicles, and shoes. Ifunanya Eze, TVC News, Lagos.
All right, finally now the stock market still posts lower prices on various shares and investors reduce holding. Effiong Gekop has details. We'll be back with sports news.
Stock market investors are going through trade fatigue as they step down eagerness to play the market with big funds. Analysts point to disappointing economic data, especially on inflation and Naira exchange rate, forcing sells on market investments. Trade index hits nearly half of a percentage point to underscore business losses of over 9 billion naira in cumulative calculations. Middle-level bank FCMB was the biggest price loser, above 4%, as sales pressure of investors hits the bank. Airtel Africa also deflated market growth by a large margin. Other deals losers were Access Corporation, Cornerstone Insurance, and Custodian Insurance. Boa Foods managed a 5% trade gain, which could not lift off the markets. Dangote Sugar, Ethanol Oil, Betal Glass, and First Bank Holding made average gains on prices. Analysts say that current slow trade may signal a bigger and sustained market corrections in the coming weeks. Effiong Gekop, TVC News, Lagos.